Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. All right, so today we're going to Brazil.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're checking out this brand new soccer team called Arachá Sports, and wow, they have some really ambitious goals.
They do.
Yeah, you sent me just a ton of information on this team, news articles, interviews, even stuff from social media, and it seems like they're really aiming for the top league in just a few years, like just 3 years, which is
3 years. That's their target.
yeah,
It's pretty aggressive, and
it is.
and they're kind of modeling themselves after another team, another underdog team,
Okay.
Athletic Club, which recently moved up to Serie B.
Oh wow, so they're really looking at that as a model.
They are, yeah. They're using them as inspiration.
Okay, so we've got big dreams, we got a new team. Sounds like the whole city's getting involved.
Yeah, a lot of community support.
But like, where did this all even begin, I guess, is the first question.
Well, it's interesting because they actually emerged from another team, a team that kind of fell apart. Yeah. So the city's existing team was called Arachá Sports Club.
Oh.
And they had some financial troubles.
Yeah.
And they had to suspend operations.
So this new team is kind of like rising up from those ashes.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of a Phoenix Rising situation.
I love that.
And what's really cool is the driving force behind this whole thing is two guys who've been friends since childhood.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Reginaldo Donaceta Batista and Rubens Lete.
Okay, childhood friends, that's like,
I know.
that's a movie.
It's a total sports movie montage waiting to happen.
Right.
So they've been friends since they were 3 years old
Oh my gosh.
and always dreamed of owning a soccer team.
Wow.
So, when Araxa Sports Club
Yeah.
had to shut down, they were like, this is our chance
Wow.
to step in and, create something really special. So Reginaldo's from Araxa.
Okay.
And Rubens is actually a successful entrepreneur who was in the U.S.
Oh, wow. Okay, so they're bringing kind of this global perspective to it, too.
Exactly, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, well, it takes more than just childhood dreams to build a successful team, right? Especially if you're aiming for the top in just 3 years. Like, that's...
Yeah. No, you need a good plan. You need
Yeah.
resources.
It almost seems impossible.
It is a super aggressive timeline.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is they're not trying to just, buy their way to the top.
Oh.
They're not just like, oh, let's get the most expensive players.
Right.
They're really focusing on building a foundation through the community and through developing young players.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so when you say community engagement, what do you mean? Like, are we talking bake sales and car washes here, or is it something big?
No, it's way bigger than that.
Okay.
So they actually held contests to let the community choose things like the team colors,
Wow.
the mascot, and even the team anthem.
Wow. So they're really letting the community kind of shape this team's identity.
Yeah, they're really making it a community project from the ground up.
I love that. Okay, that's really cool. And what about, like, I guess the financial side of things? Because, developing young players takes time. It takes resources. How are they making this work?
Yeah, so they're really trying to make soccer accessible to everyone.
Okay.
So they're thinking about things like eliminating ticket prices altogether.
What?
Or charging a very, very nominal fee.
Oh, okay, wait. Free soccer games?
Yeah, it's a bold move.
That's crazy. How can that be financially sustainable?
Well, that's where the SAF model comes in.
SAFs?
Yeah.
What's that? Some kind of secret soccer society?
No, it stands for Sociedade Anônima do Futebol.
Yeah.
It's basically a new model in Brazilian soccer
Okay.
that allows for private investment.
Okay, so
in this case, Rubens Late is the primary investor.
so he's putting up the money to make this happen.
He is, yeah. And it's really interesting because they're kind of combining this private investment with this really community-driven approach.
Yeah, that's a really interesting mix. It's like, I mean, could there be a conflict of interest there, right? Like,
Right.
what if the investor wants to prioritize profits over, the team's social mission?
Right, and that's a good question, and something that a lot of people have been talking about.
Yeah.
But in the information that you gave me, Rubens has said that it's really important to balance the financial sustainability with the community engagement.
Okay.
He sees them as working together.
Okay, so intertwined goals.
Yeah.
All right, well, this all sounds a little too good to be true. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. It is a pretty remarkable story.
It is. I mean, can they really, build a top-tier team while giving away free tickets and focusing on youth development? Like, it seems like they're trying to defy the traditional model of, professional soccer.
They are, and that's what makes it so interesting.
It does.
It's a real experiment.
It is a real experiment.
And whether they succeed or not, I think it's going to be fascinating to see how this all plays out.
I agree. Okay, so we've got a team with a compelling backstory. A really unique, community-driven approach, an unconventional financial model.
Hmm.
But what about their performance on the field? Like, are they any good?
Well, they're still in the early stages right now,
Okay.
playing mostly friendly matches to get ready for their official debut, but they have shown some promise.
Okay, like what? Give me an
Well,
example.
their most recent match was against Celso Bueno,
Okay.
and they won.
Okay. Were they like amazing or was it a close game?
It was an away game, and they won 5-3.
5 goals. Okay. All right. So they're scoring goals. They're winning games.
Because they're for a brand new team. I
Yeah.
think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. And who's scoring all these goals? Are they seasoned veterans or are they these young local players that we've been talking about?
Well, it's a bit of both, actually.
Okay.
So, for example, one of the goals in that game was scored by Kawa, and he actually previously played in Araxa's amateur soccer league.
Oh, wow. So they're really giving those local players a chance to shine. I love that. Like, it's like they're creating a pathway for, for these aspiring athletes who might not have had this opportunity otherwise.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Okay, so this is starting to sound like a real underdog story here.
It is.
But I do have a question. Can a team built mostly on local talent really compete at the top level?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't you need some star power to make a real impact?
That is the big question.
It is the million-dollar question.
And they're taking a risk by, prioritizing youth development and local talent over, these big-name signings.
Yeah, it's a gamble, but if it pays off, it could be huge.
It could be.
But what if it doesn't? What if they need to bring in some more experienced players to really reach those ambitious goals?
Yeah, that's a real possibility.
Yeah.
And that's where, their financial model and Ruben's light role become even more crucial.
Yeah.
He's going to have to make some tough decisions about, when to stick to the plan and when to maybe adapt based on how the team's performing.
Oh, yeah. The pressure is on, but they got a passionate community behind them. They got a unique vision and, a seemingly fearless leader at the helm. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to feel like we're witnessing the birth of something really special here.
It does have all the elements of a great story.
It does.
But like you said, it's still early days.
It is.
The real test is going to come when they face tougher competition.
Yeah.
And when they really have to prove that they can deliver on all these big promises.
All right, well, I think it's time for us to take a break. We've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
But there's still so much more to talk about.
There is.
So stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dive deeper into their on-field performance.
Yeah.
And, analyze their chances of actually hitting these crazy ambitious goals.
Yep.
And also, we'll explore some of the challenges and opportunities that are ahead for this really intriguing new team.
Definitely a lot to discuss.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
Me too.
All right, so we're back. And we were talking about Arachá Sports
Yeah.
and their commitment to local talent.
Yeah, like can they really make it to the top using mainly homegrown players,
It's a big question.
It is. Like, I love the idea, like, give the local guys a chance.
Right.
But to reach that top tier of the Monero League in 3 years,
Yeah.
that's like climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops,
It's a tough road ahead, for sure.
Yeah.
But remember, they are kind of following the footsteps of Athletic Club.
Right. And
they-
the underdog story.
Exactly.
Right.
And they were able to kind of climb the ranks pretty quickly.
Okay, but Athletic Club is just one team. Are there other examples of this working, can this homegrown strategy actually lead to success?
Well, I think their performance in these recent friendly matches might give us some clues.
Okay.
They've been playing a lot of games against teams from surrounding areas,
Okay.
and that's part of their strategy to build up a regional fan base,
So they're thinking bigger than just Araxa. They're
Yeah.
going regional start.
trying to attract more supporters and sponsors.
Makes sense. Okay.
And the way they've been playing suggests that maybe this focus on local talent isn't holding them back.
Oh, really? Okay. How so?
Well, take, for example, their match against Obedience on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
They won 9-1.
9-1. Hold on. Did they borrow the Brazilian national team's jerseys or something?
They were on fire that day.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It was a total domination. And, Obedienses isn't some brinky-dink team. They actually play in the regional leagues.
Okay, so they're a decent team.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe Arachá Sports is the real deal.
Could be.
But, one good game doesn't make a champion.
No, it doesn't.
So what about their overall playing style? Do they look like they're working well together, or are they still trying to figure things out?
They definitely seem to have a cohesive style.
Okay.
Their coach, Thiago Pereira, has them playing a very attractive possession-based game.
Oh, I likes that.
Yeah. I think lots of short passes, quick movement, creating scoring chances through teamwork.
Yeah, that's fun to watch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
But can that style of play succeed against tougher opponents, as they move up the ranks? Won't they be facing more physical teams?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
Because it is a style that requires a lot of skill and discipline.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how they adapt when they face those stronger opponents.
Absolutely. All right. Well, speaking of tough opponents, you mentioned they're participating in the São Paulo Youth Cup.
Yes.
That's a pretty big deal.
Huge. It's one of the most prestigious youth tournaments in all of Brazil.
Yeah.
Scouts from every major club, they're all going to be there looking for the next superstars.
Wow. So this is a chance for these young Aracha players to really make a name for themselves.
It is.
Okay, so what are their chances in this tournament, do you think? Can they compete with the best young players in Brazil?
Well, they're definitely going in as underdogs.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone should underestimate them based on how they've been playing.
Yeah.
And even if they don't, win the whole thing, just the experience of being in that tournament is going to be invaluable for these young guys.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine it's like a crash course in, high-pressure competitive soccer.
Absolutely.
All right, but let's be realistic here. Youth development, it's a long-term strategy.
It is.
Even if they do really well in this tournament, it doesn't guarantee them success in the professional leagues, right?
No, you're absolutely right. There's a big difference between, youth soccer and the professional game.
Right.
But this tournament can give them a taste of what it takes to compete at that top level.
Yeah.
And maybe even catch the eye of some scouts who see, future potential.
And maybe even attract some sponsors while they're at it.
Absolutely.
Because let's face it, no matter how community-driven they are, they're going to need serious cash to reach these goals.
Yeah, they need resources to make this work.
For sure. So let's talk about that. What are they doing to, market themselves and attract those sponsors? Are we talking, fancy social media campaigns or something more unique?
Well, they're definitely using social media effectively.
Huh?
Lots of behind-the-scenes stuff, player interviews, that kind of thing.
Right.
But they're also thinking outside the box.
Oh, okay. I like that.
So, for example, they've created a whole line of merchandise that goes beyond, the typical jerseys and hats.
Okay. Like what?
So they've got phone cases,
Okay.
custom-designed sneakers.
Yeah.
They're even doing limited edition art prints
Wow.
featuring their mascot, the Indio Aracha.
Okay. The indigenous warrior with an eagle? I mean, that's a pretty cool mascot.
It's a great mascot.
Yeah. I can see why they'd want to put that on everything.
Yeah, they're really turning it into a brand.
Yeah, it's like a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
Like a cultural movement almost.
Exactly, and they're tapping into something deeper than just soccer fandom.
Right.
They're selling a vision,
Yeah.
a story that people want to be a part of.
Okay, so they're playing good soccer. They're marketing themselves. Well, they've got a dedicated investor in Rubens Leet. But there's still one thing that makes me a little uneasy, this whole SAF model. We've talked about the potential benefits.
Yeah.
But what about the downsides? Could this private investment model, turn into a case of profits over people?
Yeah, that's a valid concern,
Yeah.
and it's something that a lot of fans have brought up.
Yeah.
Some people are worried that the SaaS model could lead to a loss of community control.
Right. Like, what if Rubens wakes up one morning and decides to charge, $100 a ticket or move the team to a bigger city,
Right.
The fans who put their heart and soul into this project would be left with nothing.
Yeah, those are legitimate fears.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that this model is still pretty new in Brazil.
Okay.
It's a work in progress.
Right.
So how it ultimately plays out, it's going to depend on the specific circumstances of each club.
So it's like a grand experiment, and we're all kind of watching to see how this unfolds.
Yeah, we are.
Fingers crossed.
And in the case of Arachá Sports, I think there's some reasons to be optimistic.
Okay, good. I like optimism.
They've been very transparent about their financial operations,
Okay.
Communicating regularly with fans in the community about their budget investment spending, that sort of thing.
So they're trying to build trust by being open and accountable.
Exactly.
Okay. I can see how that could work.
Yeah,
It's a delicate balancing act.
it is.
But if they can pull it off, it could be a model for other clubs.
It could be.
Imagine a world where soccer clubs are not just businesses, but they're community-driven enterprises
Right.
that prioritize both financial sustainability and social impact.
That's the dream.
It is a beautiful dream.
And maybe Arachá Sports is the team to show us that it can be done.
Maybe they are, but as with any ambitious endeavor, I'm sure there are going to be some bumps in the road.
Oh, there will be for sure.
Yeah. So before we move on, I have to ask about something you mentioned earlier.
Okay.
You said that Rubens Light was involved with the previous Araxa team
Yes.
before it collapsed.
That's right.
What exactly happened there, and how did that experience shape his approach to building Arachá Sports?
Well, that, my friend, is a story for the ages,
Oh, man.
and one that we will dive into when we return for the final part of our deep dive into the world of Arachá Sports.
Okay, so we are back, and I am ready for that story.
All right, you ready for some drama?
I am. Hit me.
Okay, so Reuben's an Araxa Esport Club.
Mm-hmm.
It's, it's complicated.
Oh.
From what I can tell, Rubens really loved this team. Like, he had a real soft spot for them.
Oh, so this was more than just a business deal for him.
Way more.
Okay.
And it's not just he actually put his money where his mouth was.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he gave them financial support, tried to help them stay afloat.
He was already invested in Araxa soccer even back then.
He was. He really believed in the team.
So what went wrong?
Well, it seems like he just lost faith in the team's leadership.
What do you mean?
Well, he felt like they weren't being honest with him.
Okay.
Like they weren't being transparent about their finances and their plans.
So he felt like they weren't being accountable.
Exactly.
Ouch.
And to make matters worse, he felt like they didn't have a clear vision for the future.
So it's kind of like a relationship gone bad.
It is kind of like that.
He loved the team, gave them his heart and his money, and then they just let him down.
It's a tough situation.
It is. So how did this whole experience shape his approach to building Arachá Sports?
Oh, it had a huge impact.
Okay.
I mean, he's determined to not repeat those mistakes.
Right.
He wants to create a club that's not only successful on the field, but also one that's financially stable, transparent, and accountable to the fans.
It's like he learned a really tough lesson, and now he's using that experience to try to build something better.
That's a great way to put it.
So this isn't just about building a soccer team.
Right.
It's about building a better model for club ownership.
Absolutely.
A model that puts the community first.
Yeah, one that prioritizes both financial success and community engagement.
I like that. Okay, so they're trying to rewrite the script for Araxa soccer.
They are.
But can they really escape the shadow of the past?
That's the question, isn't it?
It is. I mean, are people still skeptical?
Of course, some people are hesitant to trust again. They were hurt by what happened with the previous team.
Makes sense. So how does Arachá Sports overcome that?
By being radically transparent and involving the community in every step of the way.
So they're really going all in on that community-first approach.
All in, it's the only way to rebuild trust.
It's like they're saying, hey, this is your team, we're doing this together.
Exactly. They want the community to feel like they're a part of something special.
I love that it's so powerful. It reminds me that sometimes the greatest successes come after a major setback.
Yeah, it's about learning from those failures, adapting, and then coming back stronger.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, first off, I think it's a testament to the power of community.
Yes, community is everything.
When people unite behind a shared goal, they can achieve amazing things.
Couldn't agree more. And it's also a reminder that success doesn't always come from playing it safe.
Right, sometimes you got to take risks.
Yes.
Challenge the status quo and try something new.
And maybe most importantly, this is a story about hope.
It is.
Arachá Sports is a symbol of a fresh start.
A new beginning.
Exactly. It's a chance for this community to reclaim their soccer legacy and build a brighter future.
Yeah, and it's a reminder that even when things look bleak, there's always the possibility for renewal.
For something beautiful to emerge from those ashes.
Beautifully said.
So that's the story of Arachá Sports. A team with big dreams, a bold vision, and a whole lot of heart.
A team that's trying to change the game both on and off the field.
That's right. So until next time, keep diving.